Hello everybody, welcome to Twi's Top 10, Episode 3, the show where I take a subject and then talk about 10 things from that subject. Today I will be talking about 10 of my favorite one-offs. So, let's get into it. So, I am someone who is very bad at finishing series. Like, I have so many series that I'm in the middle of, but I have not finished yet because your girl just get distracted by shiny things. And I'm always starting new series, and I'm in the middle of mini-series, and so that's why I'm making a video about one-offs, because one-offs, you just read it, and then you're done. And these are just, well actually these are all the one-offs I could think of that I have read that I want to share with you guys. The first book I'm going to talk about is Dry by Neil Shusterman and Jared Shusterman. They're related, can you tell? So this book follows character Alyssa, and she lives in California, like around the same place that I used to live. Actually, no, I think she was like, she's a few hours away from where I used to live, but in the same kind of like area. So this kind of hits close to home, and they are in the middle of a drought. No big surprise there, except things take a turn for the worse when all of a sudden the taps run out. The water isn't working because of some government stuff that's happening, and now people are going into panic because, you know, humans need water to live. A lot of living creatures need water to live. I've learned that from my studies. And so now things are getting crazy, people are turning on each other. It's kind of like an episode from The Twilight Zone, honestly. And her parents go off to get some water, and they don't come back. And that kind of freaks her out because they're not answering her phone, and she is there with her younger brother and her neighbor, who becomes her friend, and together they decide to go searching for their parents. Yeah, things are getting very crazy. Everyone's kind of turning into like zombies, like water, because we need water, and people are willing to fight and kill for it. So they go and they run into some other characters, and it's kind of a big survival thing, and it's really cool. It was amazing to read about this because I've lived in California. I lived in Southern California for most of my life, and droughts and water running out is, you know, kind of hits closer to home. Also, it was cool to hear this book talk about stuff, places I have been, and I could like picture it in my mind. I could picture the weather perfectly. Like, I've been to some of the places in this book, which is really cool. It's totally a good read. I would recommend it, full of good characters, character growth. As for the cleanliness of this book, I don't know. I don't know how much language there is. It's been a while since I've read it. I mean, there's probably a few scattered here and there, but I've noticed that Neil Shusterman books don't exactly have that much language in them. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There's some concepts that are a kind of dark, but I would suggest reading this. My dad read this and he liked this, and yeah, it's a good book, so read it. The next one I'm going to be talking about is The Princess Bride, and yes, it is a kissing book. So this book is by S. Morganson. He has a few other pen names though. Louise can tell you all about that. So this is number 2 on this list, and this book follows characters Buttercup and Wesley, people who fall in love, and then kind of she thinks Wesley dies. Wesley really didn't die, obviously, and she kind of becomes a princess, and there's this one dude she has to marry, and she's fine because like her love's dead, so what she has to lose. And so like it's a book full of comedy, adventure, romance, and it's a read I would totally recommend for everybody because it's funny. If you watch the movie, just know that the movie and the book are good. The movie strays away from the book a bit, but it's good in its own right, and the book is good in its own right. You can't really compare them, I guess. It was funny, me and Louise read this around the same time. I actually bought it for her birthday, and so like we would send each other pictures of like the pages because quotes we thought were funny. It's really hilarious. I would totally recommend this for all ages. I don't know. And yeah, watch the movie, read the book, do both. It's super good. Also, this cover is so cool. I didn't think it was going to be like this when I ordered it, but then I caught it and I was like, what? Anyway, enough fangirling about that. Number 3 is The Bone Houses. Now, I do not own this book because I got it from the library, but yeah, so I'm just going to put like a graphic like here. This book is by Emily Lloyd-Jones, and it is set in a fantasy world, medieval fantasy, and it actually feels medieval. And so there's this character, her name is Ren, and she is the daughter of a gravedigger. So she's grown up around death. She doesn't really care about it. Death is just part of life, if you get what I mean. So she cares about her family the most, and she will do anything to protect them. And there's also something else. They're next to these magical woods, and in these woods are zombies. They're called bone houses. They're like the Walking Dead. Like, they rise and they walk around, and they can be dangerous. So be careful. Don't run into them alone, especially at night, because that is creepy. And her house is in danger of being taken away by this lord dude. He's kind of a jerk. Kind of reminds me of, like, from Hamilton, King George the Third. I think it was the third. And then there is another character. His name. Oh my gosh, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. I forgot his name. There's no way I can look it up right now. I'm so sorry. There's another character. He is a map maker. His name is Ellis. Just thought I'd put that in here while I'm editing. And he wants to scout out the woods and the mystical mountains, and to do so he needs a guide, and Ren needs money. So you kind of see where when they meet they kind of like have to click and stuff, and so off into the woods they go. Also, something strange is going on with the bone houses. They are getting dangerous. They're actually entering the village, and the village is supposed to be magically protected. So this book has a lot of like Celtic elements to it. It's really cool. I read it around Halloween. It was cool. Don't let the cover scare you, because it's like this big cool skull thing. So it's a good book. As for language, I think the D word was said every now and then, but I don't really remember there being like any noticeable language. And the romance, pretty clean, kissing and all that stuff. All in all, it's a good book, and I think it made Louise cry. Number 4 on this list is a children's book. All YA books are children's books, technically. This is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. So this book is about this girl. Her name is Luna. So the town she's from, they sacrificed their youngest to the evil witch in the woods. And it's just a ritual until, in reality, the witch is actually quite nice. She doesn't know what the heck they're doing with the babies. And so she just takes the babies, takes care of them, and then she takes them across the woods to a town and gives them a better life. And she feeds them starlight. Now, starlight has magic, as everyone knows. But moonlight is where it really is, because moonlight is magic. And here's why that's important. So along comes Luna. Luna is the youngest child in the village, and so she is taken away, and that drives her mother crazy and all that stuff. So Luna is in the woods, and the witch comes and takes her, and the witch accidentally feeds her a whole bunch of moonlight, and that means this girl is going to have magic and cannot really have a normal life. So the witch takes her and raises her as her own in her bog with a few other characters, including a tiny dragon and a swamp monster. They're all really cool. And they are raising Luna, and soon her magic starts to come out, and they have to lock the magic up until she's 13. And she does not know anything about magic. She can't even see magic. She can't hear the word magic. Yeah, no magic. There's also another character in the village who was around when Luna was getting sent away, and he has to deal with his own problems. You see, he is now married, and his child is going to be the youngest. So it is up to him to go into the woods and kill the witch. Just keep in mind, this guy is not evil. The real villains are much more sneaky. This is a very good book. I would recommend it for all ages, even though it's supposed to be, I think, elementary level. This is a book for I would give this book to a 20-year-old, man. This is that good. Also, look at the cover. It's such a mystical read. This is one of the books that really got me to reading. And also, this cover is amazing. There's a lot of nice, cool magic. It's so mystical, mysterious. Oh no, it's a great book. Totally would recommend. Next on my list, number 5, is House of Salt and Sorrow by Aaron A. So this book is a dark retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. So this is set on a kingdom, well, it's a little piece of a kingdom that is by the sea. It's seaside adventures. It's really cool. It's like I was reading this and I could feel the sea because, I grew up, well, I wasn't next to the sea, but I visited the ocean a lot because when you live in California, if you don't do that, are you really a Californian? There used to be 12 daughters of this duke, and now there is not 12 daughters. Several of them have died mysteriously, all from separate causes, but Annalay, our main character, doesn't think that it was so separate and accidental at all. Many village people have murmured about a curse, and while she doesn't necessarily believe that, she believes her sisters are being murdered. And it's only a matter of time until someone else is next, and she does not want to lose it because her family is her everything. So this is just after her one of her sister's funerals, and she and her sisters are just chilling. They're going through mourning again, and she's kind of upset though because her father and her new stepmother have announced that they're going to have a child, and also they're not going to stay in mourning as long as it would be customary to be in mourning, because they have these like ritual things they have to do. Like they have to be wearing black and in mourning for like 6 months, and then 6 months more they have to be in like gray. And this has been going on for a while since so many sisters have died, and they're like, okay, this needs to stop. We need to stop. And Lily's not too happy about that. And so more mysterious things are happening. Number 1, she and her sisters have found a magical door that leads them to other places and other balls where they can dance, and her sisters are thrilled because they never really had a chance to do that. But she is kind of skeptical because something feels off and other dark things are happening. Also, she meets this one dude named Cassius, and of course they fall in love. He's a really cool character. I like him. And so that's what it's about. It had a really good feel and aesthetic to it. Like if it made it into a movie, like, oh, please do. There's some ghostly things happening. Don't read this if you get scared easily. Just don't. You're going to be freaked out, maybe. I don't know. That could just be me. I mean, I didn't really get freaked out. I'm just thinking about some people who might get freaked out from reading this. All in all, an amazing book. And also, the world building in this is amazing. I want more books in this world. Number 6 is Mara, Daughter of the Nile by Eloise Jarvis McGrath. So this book takes place in ancient Egypt, and there's a slave named Mara, and one day she runs into this one dude who basically recruits her to be a spy for their pharaoh, who is a queen actually, and she's kind of a bad pharaoh, but they don't want her out of office, and she doesn't want to be out of office, so Mara is now a spy. But the thing is, on her way to going to the capital of Egypt, she runs into another main character, Sheftu. Sheftu is a lord, and he is also a rebel leader. You see, the queen has a brother who, I think that's his rightful place, is to be pharaoh. And he would be a very good pharaoh. It's just he's constantly in danger, and the queen is not letting him be pharaoh. So a rebellion starts led by Sheftu. Sheftu is very smart, very sneaky, which is kind of annoying for Mara because Sheftu thinks she's up to something. She overhears some stuff, and then he recruits her to be a spy for him. And so she's a double spy, and she finds this kind of amusing. And yeah, this is her living her life as a double spy, playing both sides at first until she has to eventually choose one side. Also, this story is about Sheftu and his journey on helping his king come to power. It's a really good book. Louise recommended it to me. She let me borrow it, and then my birthday she bought it for me. I love this book. It's so cool. The romance in here is very good. It's a clean read. I would definitely read it, and Louise would recommend it too. So you read it. Number 7 is My Diary from the Edge of the World by Jodi Lynn Anderson. So this book is also like The Girl Who Drank the Moon, I think for elementary readers, but it's a really good book and it's a cool urban fantasy. So in this world, there are dragons, there are Pegasi, and there is, magical creatures. There are lots of magical creatures, there are vampires. They're in the Civil War. The Yetis came and helped them. Yeah, it's very cool. Also, this cover is so fitting for this book. Anyway, so one thing about this world is there's these clouds that come for people when they die. Like when they're close to death, they come and then they take these people away to the afterlife or something. And our main character's name is Gracie, and her younger brother Sam is next. At least she thinks so, because a cloud is coming towards them, and the only one they think it could be is for Sam. So she, her mom, her dad, her sister, her brother go into a camper and decide to move and find a way to lose this cloud, because they don't want to lose their little Sammy, who is a precious little boy. And also they take one of Gracie's new friends, Oliver, who also, he's an orphan and he wants to leave too. This world is very interesting because it's like these magical creatures are real, but it's not necessarily good. History is very different. Towns are different. It's just something you have to read to kind of understand. And these characters are going across America, which isn't too easy, trying to find a way to the edge of the world, because in this world it's flat. And they want to go to a world that is a sphere, and it's our world basically, and they want to go to our world. And they're trying to do that, and they go on several adventures as they do. This book is all about friendship and family, and it's written from the perspective of Gracie. Gracie has been given a diary, and this is her writing it all down and getting really into writing her diary. It's a really good book with some good plot twists, good characters, and it's clean, totally clean. Little to none romance. It's amazing. I want to read this again. I'm definitely going to recommend it to some of my younger friends when they get old enough to actually read this and be allowed to. It's a good book. I would recommend it for even the oldest of audiences. And so, yeah. The next book is If You, Then Me by Yvonne Woom. I don't think I said that right. Sorry. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. I just hate mispronouncing names because it's kind of weird and embarrassing for me and for other people. By the way, this cover is amazing in person, so. This book is about our girl named Zyla, and she is Taiwanese American. Yeah, she is that. And she is lonely. But also happens to be a coder, and she has made an app for herself called Wiser, which is programmed to be like her future self, giving advice to the present herself, if that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't word that right, I'm sorry. But she enters into this contest thing to be chosen to be one of the few students who goes to this amazing coding school, and at the end of this school year, the coders are given there's a winning coder, and they get a bunch of money to help them start their business, their app business. And I think that's really cool. Also, if you go there, you get a lot of, even if you don't win, people still kind of know your name, you learn stuff about it, and it's a coding school, which is what it is. And here's the thing though, she has someone she texts online. She has never met this person. She's kind of started crushing on this person, and this person might just be going to the same school as her, and it might just be that new kid named Mast she met who's kind of annoying. But what if they're the same people? That would be perfect, wouldn't it be? Yeah, wouldn't it be? So she has to deal with all this stuff. She has to deal with new people, new bullies. Also, she meets this one alumni from there who's kind of her hero named Minzy. I freaking hate that character. Just gonna say that now. She is not a good character. I mean, she's a good character, written very well. She's just
evil.
That's what she is. And so she's all that's happening. This book is not clean at all. No, not at all. This is a book, their F word is there a few times, there's other language, and also, like, the characters have played this weird game of truth or dare. Like, why do teenagers act like this? It's kind of weird questions are asked, and they talk about, like, some stuff, that's not exactly appropriate, but they don't actually, for romance, there's some kissing, but they don't actually do any of it. There is a little bit of drug use in that, but it's not the cleanest books. I would maybe 15 plus, depending on your maturity level. And it's a good book. I enjoyed it. It was really cool. Definitely a good collection to my shelf. Just be careful who you are in reading this. Just saying. I want to protect you little reader babies who come here to hear my ramblings. And then soon you'll hear Louise's ramblings about books. Woo. Next one on my list, number 9, is To Best the Boys by Mary Weber. So I talked about this before on the channel, and this book is about this girl named Wren. This seems to be a very popular name these days for medieval kind of girls, except this is not medieval fantasy. This book is set in a time that kind of reminds me of Pride and Prejudice. It's a fantasy world, don't get me wrong, but the feel of it's kind of Pride and Prejudice-y, like, the world, there's Parliament and all that stuff. And this girl named Wren, she and her dad are scientists. Well, she's not officially a scientist, but she helps them out on their stuff. And there is this disease going around, and she and her dad are trying to find the antidote to it. They're trying to figure it out because their mom, because her mom is sick with it. And Parliament is not taking it seriously. She has tried several times to get their attention, but they won't. One, because it's not really important. Also, she's a woman, so how would women know about this? And Wren is kind of annoyed that she isn't given the chances like boys would be given, because this is the society they live in. But things are getting serious around the town. The sickness is becoming more popular. So she decides to do something drastic. So once a year, this mysterious noble opens up the grounds and has this competition. I mean, there's a big party, but there's a little competition inside of this party for everyone of the age of university. So they all receive a letter and they compete for a chance at a scholarship to go to this amazing university that will really kickstart their career. And Wren decides to go and interrupt. She decides to compete, and she dresses up like a boy. Also, her cousin, Selene, she's a total girly girl, but she's a butt kicker nonetheless, decides to go with her and dress up as a boy. One reason is to help Wren. Also, her true love, one of Wren's friends, is also going to be in the competition, and she wants to make sure he stays safe too. So they're all competing. They meet different people, they learn different things, they risk their lives, and it's really good. This book is all about friendship. It has some romance. I think maybe it's pretty clean, I think, for most people. Also, I really like what they did with gender roles. Like, they didn't stray away from, like, traditional gender roles, I guess. I really like what they did with the characters, Wren and Selene, and their contrast, because Wren is a total girl who's, like, not like other girls. She wants to do stuff that isn't considered by society as, like, girly or whatever. And Selene wants to be a mother and a wife, and that is not looked down upon, which is really nice to read about these days. In the contrast between these two girls, I'm thinking about writing a paper on that, so yeah. The last book on my list is one of my favorites, Xoxo by Axio. So this book is about this Korean American girl named Jenny. Jenny is a cello prodigy, and her music has been feeling kind of dry until she meets this mysterious dude named Jae-woo, one night in Koreatown, LA. And they go hang out for the town. They have some fun, they become friends, and she feels a spark, like, for her music and stuff. And so they lose touch, and she's kind of sad. She kind of misses him, but oh well, she has a life. And her mother has to go to Korea because her grandmother is in need of surgery, and her mom wants to be there for her. And Jenny doesn't want to be away from her mother too much because there's kind of a strain in their relationship. And so she decides to go with her, and she enters into this prestigious Korean art school. She gets on full scholarship. It's really cool. And she goes there only to find that Jaewoo also goes there. And here's the thing, though. Jaewoo is a K-pop star. Not just any K-pop star, a very popular K-pop star. And she is like, wait, what? You were this the whole time when I met you? You were a K-pop star? Oh my gosh. She wasn't really a fan before, but she becomes a fan because, Jaewoo. And so there's kind of a forbidden romance in here. This book is full of great characters, I must say. As for language, I think there may be a little bit. Yeah, I just have a little bit of language. For romance, there's kissing, and then there's this one scene, but you can skip over it really quickly. Just be prepared when you come across it. It's not really in depth. It's not that bad. Just skip over it. It's really easy. That's what I did. I was like, okay, yeah, I can skip over that. But besides that little glitch, yeah, it's an amazing book. And also, this is an amazing segue to my announcement. You see, when this video will be posted, it is going to be the middle of this reading challenge called Koreathon. Actually, it's Koreathon. Sorry, I said that wrong. That rhymes all along. Anyway, I'll stop. It's a challenge where between March 3rd and I think March 8th or 13th, I don't know, I forgot on the details, you read books by Korean authors. And I'm not technically part of this officially because I know it's hosted by this one or multiple people, but I'm not officially part of it, which means I got to bend the rules, and I'll tell you about that in next week's video. Hopefully I'll be posting about the books I read during Koreathon. And if you guys want any recommendations for books by Korean authors, you can let me know in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day, my little humans, and read lots, live life, don't stress, leave a like. Bye!